I was invited to make a new work for the Melbourne International Festival in 2002. It was also the opening of the new Wood Marsh building for the Australian Centre for Contemporary Arts, so it was a pretty extraordinary moment. I was able to actually travel to Japan as part of the project. I happened to be exactly the right day when the first blossom came out, which was absolutely extraordinary. It's sort of like quite magical, but it also did represent that there was a shift happening. Japan was heating up earlier than normal. I shot some footage there myself, which was a little girl on her father's shoulders, the redemptive element in Undertow. On coming back to Sydney and sort of developing Undertow, I also started to think about the world in relationship to not only man-made and natural disasters, but also in terms of what was really happening in this part of the world, in the Asia Pacific. It was a 6-channeled video installation. It was completely immersive. When you walk into the space, I think you're pretty much overpowered by the main screen, which is on the back wall, which is footage from Greenpeace, oil fires in Russia, oil disasters in the northern seas in the UK, as well as the dust storm from Melbourne. There's also a soundtrack by Robert Hindley at the time. And on the left-hand side, there was some footage from Rotorua. It's kind of this bubbling thing under the surface of things, the kind of madness of being a painter, the idea of the psychosis of the studio or something, of sort of mixing the palette. The other elements were to do with sort of Bureau of Meteorology, sort of original footage just outside of Melbourne of the ozone balloon going up in the sky. I guess in a sense it's my interest in scientists and how scientists have always experimented just as artists have experimented, and we equally take these leaps of faith. It's slowed down as well. I think that's a really important element of Undertow too. So you get this feeling of stretched time and also saturating it as a painter would, so this black, oily, bluey kind of stench. So you were kind of trapped and it was kind of sticky. The idea of, measuring our air. I mean, in a way, sort of with Undertow, at times you felt like you couldn't breathe. I mean, I kind of was very conscious of creating an atmosphere. As you're walking out of the room, on the left-hand side, you have inserted into the wall, little cut, is a sequence from Orson Welles' The Trial. Joseph K. dragging the weight of the world, actually, in this suitcase, which was incredibly heavy. And it was from this really bleak kind of conditions, actually. So it's kind of foreboding. And there was also another element, which was a scene of typewriters, kind of bureaucratic conditions. Hopefully with that installation and with the reference to sort of the trial in that, I'm placing us all on trial. We actually as human beings have to take on the responsibilities of our actions in terms of the environment and then subsequently in terms of humanitarian issues as well. As you leave Undertow up high, I want to simulate how I saw this little girl on her father's shoulders with the blossoms behind. So that was a kind of the redemptive element, and so that I don't leave people with a complete sense of annihilation. I like the idea of resilience in the end, because I guess human beings are resilient ultimately, and we know we do defy everything and we continue. All these things are a part of my work, which is sort of still a thread that seems to emerge, and even though I keep on thinking I'm making these great leaps and I take myself into often treacherous conditions, it's kind of a seminal work. Somehow there's a constant sort of thread that comes back often to Undertow.